All right, welcome back, everybody, to the show. Appreciate you joining us. Of course, we're talking about this incredible book, Can You Really Think and Grow Rich? We have Ramy with us here, but now we have a very special guest who knows a thing or two about writing a pretty darn good book, an iconic book. I think it's very fair to say. This man sold over 50 million copies. And when you hear people all over the place, my parents say it all the time, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. I hear it all the time, and now I'm sitting next to the man who actually wrote that book. Pretty cool stuff. John Gray joining us right now. John, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Happy to be here.
So I don't think people realize this, but Ramy was a big part of your book in a sense that he didn't write the book, but he actually collaborated with you in pushing the book and getting the book out there. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
The book changes lives, but you've got to reach people and let them know. And Ramy approached me after doing one of my relationship seminars and says, I can bring this to the people. Now, already a lot of people were approaching me because I already was #1 best-selling book in the country. But he took it to 6 years #1 bestseller in the country. The biggest bestseller in the whole decade was Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and he saw it. He said, John, I can take this, we'll make an infomercial with this. And other people want to do infomercials, but you see, they only last a little bit of time. Ramy ran this infomercial even for months when it was losing money. And the reason you sold me on this, Ramy, is because where you come from is the heart. Because I said, I don't want to just promote. I want to give people my best material. I want to teach a seminar online over and over and over. And a lot of people just want to show you what the result is. You can get this result, and you buy the product, and then you learn. We gave him the very best, and nobody else would be willing to do that. He was, because he wants to serve. So quality of success is selfless service with always the mind on helping others and helping yourself in a fair deal. And that's what it's about.
I think it's fair to say that he literally showed you that, yes, you can think and grow rich. And partially he did that with pushing your book out there.
When I read the book, I wrote the foreword to the book. And the first thing I said, this is a page turner. It's such an easy book to read. You get through it so fast. And for me reading it, it was like my life story. Successful people understand that unsuccessful people don't understand. It's a journey. He even has a symbol where you go up, you're going to go down. You're going to go up, you're going to go down. It's like walking up steps. You don't just suddenly have an open door and everything happens for you. That's what people think. They think, oh, successful people, rich people, happy people, fulfilled people, it's all just open door. No, doors were shut, and you've got to believe in yourself. And how do you believe in yourself? You need to have support to do that. I would have never had the support to do it if I didn't have people who believed in me, who also believed in themselves. We need role models, and not everybody has a role model. And so that's why you read books where you resonate with someone who's done it, and he has done it. He hit the bottom. People don't realize I hit the bottom. I also was homeless. You get all these stories of homeless people be successful. But the difference is, for me, I did have parents, and I could go to them. A lot of people don't have those parents, and they helped me. So what you need is someone who can help you, believe in you, and support you, but you got to be able to reach out. You've got to be able to believe in yourself and build from that place. And know, Men Are From Mars, people say, oh, it's a lucky book. 9 years before I could get that book published. 9 years. Rejection, rejection, rejection. Finally, I got it. And why did I get it? Because I kept believing in myself. This was long before I met Ramy, but I read the book Think and Grow Rich. And what's great about the book Think and Grow Rich, a classic, is that Ramy took that at 12 years old, changed his life, created wealth, planes, abundance, fabulous wealth, and love. What is his beautiful wife, Courtney? Unbelievably beautiful. Why? Why did they have that? Because he comes from the heart and he comes from the mind. Both you have the principles of what you believe is what you're going to create in your life, but you've got to come from that place of the heart. And that's how you sold me. That's how he became my partner in life, to spread this message around the world in 45 different languages. Would never have happened without his help.
25-year friendship with this man.
Absolutely. He lives what he talks about.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what can you say about this man in regards to this book? It seems like his heart is open, right? He is literally an open book, and that's why he wrote this book. Can you talk a little bit about that friendship over the years?
Well, everybody talks about how Ramy's a wonderful, generous person. I'm a wonderful, generous person. That's why we've become so close. I'm always there for him. He's always been there for me. We support each other. But you see, Think and Grow Rich, in order to think positive, you've got to come from a place of love. And that's what I talk about when I talk about Ramy. It's fairness, it's generosity, it's kindness. He reaches out to people and helps them. We can't forget that. And when you think to grow rich, you're also thinking to produce positive attitude, forgiveness, love, acceptance, perseverance. These are qualities of the human soul. But you can't get to that unless where you can control it is with your thinking. What are your thoughts? And it's easy to think better when you have examples of people who've done it. So that's what he does. He tells his story, and it's incredibly open and vulnerable. A lot of people edit out all the bad stuff. Ramy tells you the whole story. He went up, he went down, he went up, but each time he rises higher. And this is what people have to realize, is the journey to success is not everybody's going to go, oh, sure, we like you, we want you. No, you have to believe in yourself. And to the extent that you believe in yourself, the world will believe in you. And you believe in yourself like going to a gym. It takes effort, it takes perseverance, it takes strength. But I tell you, right now in my 70s, I would not go to the gym every day unless I paid a coach. I had to pay him to get me to lift those weights. Yeah. We all need that support. And by reading this book, it's like reading it, resonating with it again and again. You know, if he can do it, I can do it.
I think you're a perfect person to ask this question. You know what it's like to have one of the most successful books of all time, at least in my generation, 50 million copies sold. When you read this book, I would imagine you believe that this book deserves to be right there with it. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. You know, what people need is a simple guide, not too complex, an easy read, a story. Stories, when people read Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, they say to me, amazing. It's like you're living under our bed and hearing all of our conversations because it's real and it's examples. It's not just ideas, you should do this, you should do that. Think and Grow Rich had a lot of great ideas, but Ramy gives them a life story of what he went through to achieve, how he used these tools to rise above. Just as in my own work, long before I was a relationship expert, I was a celibate monk for 9 years. I knew nothing about relationships, but I opened my heart. And from opening your heart, by finding love, I was able to persevere and overcome the challenges that my wife and I, Bonnie, went through. And I shared those stories. That's why it touches the world, because it's real. It's not just ivory tower philosophy stuff that makes sense. It's stuff that makes sense, it's practical, and people relate to it right away.
Ramy, what's it been like knowing this guy for a couple decades and being a part of this unbelievably successful book? What has that been like for you the last 25 years?
It was pretty amazing. I mean, when I met John, I saw him and I listened to him. And again, just like Think and Grow Rich, all his message was based on basic truth. And it just resonated. And I said, oh, wow, people should know and hear about this because it does really make a lot of sense and really does work. And when I did market the book and I interviewed a lot of people that he helped and everything else, and they talked about it, and I saw them cry and I saw them, feel, and he saved so many relationships with what he did in his book and everything and his seminars. So I just decided this is what I wanted to do, and it was great. And I approached him, and again, like John said, there's a lot of people offer to really market him and everything else, and I had to hear a lot of no's, and I was able to have him to convince him to let me have dinner with him and his wife, and by the time dinner was over, he agreed to let me market his book.
I'm just curious for both of you with this collaboration, how many marriages and relationships do you think you've saved? My parents, I could say at least one, I know for sure. Like, how many relationships do you think you've salvaged from this book?
Millions. My experience of 25 years traveling the globe in 20 different countries, teaching these ideas everywhere. There's not a time I go through the airport where some guy doesn't come up to me, and you can see his wife over there. He says, "You wrote the book." And I kind of chuckle because it's probably the only book he's ever read since high school or whatever it was. And he says, "So you wrote the book, didn't you?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "We were divorced
Wow.
We read your book.
How rewarding.
I started dating my wife again, and you saved our family.
And that's what the kind of what, when we talk about this book, you talk about your book, you saved millions of relationships. Ramy, I would imagine when you're writing this book, you're thinking in not necessarily saving relationships, that would be nice, but really saving people's lives, not just financially, but with positive thinking, without making excuses, turning someone's life around. So while you saved millions of relationships, you're saving lives in general and just getting people off the streets and to think positive, right? So in that situation, there's kind of a comparison there.
Yeah, and it's not only getting off the street; it's just getting people to be happy, to get what they want out of life. I mean, that's really important, to achieve the things that you want and not have excuses and not be a victim. I mean, it's horrible living their whole life as a victim instead of being the one who's in control and getting what they want. So I'm hoping to get people to really change the way they think, so their lives are just better.
Mm-hmm. You know, all motivation in life is about believing something is possible. One of the earliest stories my mother told me that really touched my life was Aesop's fable about called Sour Grapes. It's a fox who sees the grapes and gets excited about that. I want that, and he runs to get the grapes. And there's a big tall fence. He keeps jumping it 2 or 3 times. And when he falls down, he says, I don't really care about those grapes anyway. That's called sour grapes. When we don't believe something is possible, those sweet desires, those little sprouts of desires, I see that, I want that. We lose that passion in life when we don't have the vision of possibility. And you get that vision of possibility when you see in another person they also faced adversity and they overcame it. And then something in your soul says, I can do that. That's the foundation of all success, is to pick yourself back up and do it again. And then what happens is your intuition clicks into gear. Opportunities open up. And that's what I've seen happen for him again and again. It's happened for me again and again. And I know people that have followed and worked with him who didn't have much money and become millionaires now because of their affiliation with him. So this is real for people. You have to see the possibility. And by reading this book, this simple book over and over, it's so interesting to read. Your story is amazing. What happened, it's like a movie or something. They should make a movie of your life for sure. But when you see all that he went through, you go, yes, I'm going through that right now in some degree. And you see how he took a step forward. That's what we need, is that gentle encouragement that says, I can do it. Therefore, you can wake up that natural soul desire that says, I want it, I can do it.
Well, John Gray, your book is obviously iconic, but hearing that from you, talking about this book, I think goes a very, very long way. Get your hands on this book. John, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time.
Okay. One more thing.
Yep.
And I go about, there's a part in the book where Ramy went broke completely in 2015.
Okay. Yep.
And you were one of the only ones that helped him and gave him $10,000. From the rise from there. Were you astonished by what he brought back?
I got you. So one of the most interesting things about friendship is friends need to... Sure. Yep. I think one of the most important things about friendship... let me start that over. I think one of the most important things about friendship, and I think you both will agree on this, is your friend there for you when you're down and when you need help. We know that in 2015, Ramy was down. We talked about the $21 he had to his name. And you were there for him. You helped get him back on his feet. Can you talk a little bit about that, specifically what you did for him and why you did it?
He's my friend. It was a simple thing. He said, I need money. I said, okay, what do you need? He said, $10,000 should do good. I said, here it is. No hesitation at all. See, that's the kind of attitude that creates success in your life. And that's who he is. He inspires generosity in others. And that's a beautiful quality. And that's what friendship's about. I had an experience once when I was homeless. And it was scary. It was cold. I was living on the beaches in California. I had no money. I had a little money and I'd run out. Everybody else was getting their checks, but I didn't get any checks. So I was depending on other people. And an old friend of mine said, hey, how you doing? I said, good, good. I was too ashamed to ask for help. And this is 40 years ago. And he said, well, I got $50 here. Maybe you can use that. I never forgot that. And I knew that when Ramy was down, he needed help, and I was going to be there for him. And he deserved it.
Okay. Now I ask him, so was that $10,000, are you amazed of what he turned it into to today?
Okay. So.
So at that point, John, when you gave him $10,000, did you even think that he would turn that $10,000 into what he's turned it into today and where he's at right now?
I had no hesitation in giving Ramy $10,000, and it's a gift. You don't have to pay me back. Of course, all that he'd given to me, how could I even hesitate? But what's so amazing is he took that $10,000 in a few short years, was a company worth millions and millions of dollars. Amazing. I watched him create the change. And then he had one setback. He had an idea, and then it didn't work out because somebody got in the way. He pivoted. And that's another aspect of everybody needs to understand with success, to become a master of pivot. When you're moving this direction, you think it's going to work, it doesn't work, you adjust. And you got a little bit of information from that experience to allow you to see, oh, what will work better? What will work better? Because if you follow your heart, your soul's desire, the answers are there, but they don't appear all at once. Mm-hmm. So I gave him that $10,000. I knew he'd do good with it. And that within a few short years, hundreds of millions of dollars. How he did it, it's amazing.
So, John, you talked about the person who gave you $50 when you were down and out, and Ramy now we're talking about how you gave him $10,000, but it's the same premise, right? What you were able to turn the $10,000 into, you'll probably never forget that for the rest of your life. Right. And the person who gave you $50 when you were down and out, you both were able to do the same thing in a sense, right?
Right. Exactly, and we don't forget the people that do help us. You know, it's far and few between, but when they do, it lasts forever. And it's important not to forget the people that helped you, because they were there when you needed it. Mm-hmm. So that's an important thing.
You helped him sell 50 million copies, and now we're going to help you sell Can You Really Think and Grow Rich? The book's right here. Check it out. Can You Think at growrich.com. Check out the website. And John, I really do appreciate you joining us and sharing these personal stories. Thank you so much.
One more personal story.
Sure.
This whole idea of caring for the people who helped you is a big, important idea in my life. And why that's so important is that my younger brother didn't do so well in life as me. He was bipolar. And I tried to help him, and I couldn't help him. And eventually he shot himself. That's why I studied psychology, hoping I could help my brother. And I look back when I felt so sad and so much regret. I could have been a better brother. And when I was growing up, I had 4 older brothers who always sort of pushed me down. But he was my little brother, and he held me up. He supported me. And when he died, I realized who held him up, who supported him. Because as a kid growing up, you don't realize that. Although he loved me, but I couldn't be the perfect brother for him. And I made a promise in my life when he killed himself. I said, to this day, I'm going to always remember the people who helped me. And I think we all could learn that lesson. But for me, that was one of the lessons of adversity. When bad things happen, there's always a gift from that. And that gift is something we learn and we grow from. Then later in life, I couldn't get my books published. And finally, a little publishing house took one of my books. And it did really well. It wasn't Men Are From Mars. It was long before Men Are From Mars. And it did really well. It did so well that New York publishers said, we want your book. I was so excited. I went to the little distribution house and said, great news. New York wants my book. And they said, great news for you, but not great news for us. Because every time we have a successful book, somebody takes it. We can make that book so successful. Well, I knew they couldn't. And I said, what should I do? My wife said, this is your dream to have a New York publisher. So I have a New York publisher right there asking for my book. And everybody said, you should go with it. And I thought, well, I can at least talk to the people and explain to them. I'll share the profit with them or something like that. And when he was standing in front of me, the whole team proving to me they can do better with my book, I felt the presence of my brother right in that moment. And I said, I promised I would never forget the people who helped me. And this was the only company that would help me get my first book out. So I said to the president, I said, okay, you can have the book. And my agent says, what are you doing? You're going to give them the book? I can sell this to New York. And we're in the elevator, and the agent said to me, so what are you going to do? And right in that moment, my heart opened. It says, I'll write another book. And said, you can do that? I said, yes. Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Came from that moment. And I wrote it in 3 months, the easiest book I ever wrote, because it came from that moment of healing.
Wow, that's incredible. It's an incredible story.
So don't forget the people that help you.
Yes, that's right.
That's it. Anyway, John's been a good long friend, and you see my successes, ups and downs, and it's really great to see and help people succeed
Actually,
too.
Can you just start that sentence?
Yeah,
again? I wasn't sure if you-
I was kind of like lost in what to say next. Anyway, John and I go way back now, and it was really great and gratifying to help him achieve that success and sell 50 million books for him. It was more the goal of selling all those books and getting the message out and making the money on the book. And from his book also, we built a $1 billion company out of it, just as an intermediate, which ended up to be the one that the government went after. But from that, as John talks about, you do get something out of every adversity, and that's one of the things I talk about in the book, and one of the things that's in Think and Grow Rich. Through every adversity, there's a seed of equal or greater benefit. And you just have to notice it and look at it that way instead of being depressed or feel like a victim just because you went through an adversity, because there will be something good that comes out of it that's even greater than the bad that just happened.